Hardcore Terraria is already very unforgiving. One wrong move and hours of gameplay can end. But what if I limit myself to using only boulders and boulder variants? This will force me to come up with different strategies and change the way I play. I'll also be buffing the difficulty to master mode and increasing the spawn rates to 10 times. I started this challenge by immediately chopping down some trees because I was gonna need a lot of wood. Oh yeah, I forgot, I still have... Oh no. This isn't great. I'll let the guide deal with him. Please attack. Why is he just running away? Once my conundrum with the slime finished, I changed the difficulties to the appropriate settings and I began working on my new house. Now I have the choice of building the house on the surface or underground, but I decided to do it underground because it would just be more accessible. Either way, both were going to take quite a bit of time to get through, especially considering that I had a speed debuff on my pickaxe. So it's been a rough day of doing absolutely nothing, but that's kind of fine at the moment. I feel like this is a good point to mention that I didn't have my difficulty set to hardcore, but to journey, because I could increase spawn rates that way. Back to the video. Eventually though, I managed to get through it and the house was completed. And the god is dead once again. Doesn't matter though, it's time to mine. If you're curious about my mining achievements in this session, I got absolutely nothing, but a worm did end up harassing me. I hear something I shouldn't hear. Despite not getting lucky while mining, I ended up encountering Pinky on the surface. I see Pinky, I see Pinky, I see Pinky. I just saw it for a second. I was panicking at the time because pink gel meant I could use bouncy boulders, which are really strong and last for a long time. But eventually it would escape and it was back to sulking and mining. Except this time I would actually find some chests. Okay, this is safe. I was so scared to open that on. At this point, I actually needed some type of weapon, so I went to craft a heavy workbench, only to see I don't have enough iron. Back to the mines. Alright, this is gonna be like the biggest risk I'm gonna take so far, but it might pay off, so... And I can't use anything, alright. But when I got to the surface, I finally got my hands on the bench, and I could make boulders. I got curious though, and wondered if it was even safe to use them, and so I tested them in a separate world. Let me just show you guys something. This is scary. From here, it was very repetitive. I mined, cut down trees, explored a bit, and almost died. Ooh. I was not recording, but I just went down this hole and I almost died. Except... Ooh! Yeah, it's time to restart. And to restart again. The record button is dumb, bro. The third run went much better than the previous two, even taking less time than the first one. However, the beginning was quite repetitive as it was just me cutting down trees, building houses, and mining a bit. Oh, there's more up here. This went much better as I finally got to work on my fighting chamber, which really was just a hole for enemies to fall into, which I can then run over with boulders. Except, I realized that slimes and other enemies had an easy time escaping, so I decided to make certain parts even taller. I think this is a good amount to test on. Oh. Yes. This is the most progress I've made. How is there a Devourer? Like, what the hell is this? Yep, I'm dead once again. But what do you even do about that thing just magically spawning in and one-shotting me? Here's my fourth run, which starts off with, you guessed it, breaking trees, building houses, and mining. So this run had a lot more unsuccessful mining, which basically just means that I accomplished absolutely nothing once again, and in fact had a better run earlier despite dying much quicker. But if we ignore that, I made a larger battle arena and even got my hands on some Hermes boots, which are not really that useful to be honest, as I can't even run around much. I was still really excited though, so... Yes! It was worth it. I also got a lot of ores this time around and made a grappling hook for the first time. Okay, this is the best run so far. Another exciting moment would be my first time getting hostile and attacking a huge sum of slimes while mining. That was not the right move. Other than that, it got quite repetitive. I really just spent a lot of time mining and not really getting good loot. You know, this challenge would have been 30 times easier if I didn't get harassed by 20 worms each time I mine, but what are you gonna do about it? I just got one shot. Yeah. I got to see Pinky on my next run though, except I failed to exterminate it, and because of that, I wanted to build my volcanic structure. What? I don't know. Here, I'll just build it. There was just no need for me to do that. I don't know why I kept pushing the limit there. Next run was interesting to say the least. Pinky was met very early on, and so I decided that I would use my pickaxe to my quote-unquote advantage. Oh! Pinky! This clip is 3,000 times the speed, by the way. That's how long I was attacking it for, but Pinky decided to run away. This world is not going well whatsoever. I fell to my death here. Not much to say. I also died again. What? What is a slush ball? In the following run, I would make a crimson world by accident. I made it crimson. Nope, I have to redo this world, even if it's good. But decided to continue, and I wouldn't regret this choice as I would get my hands on a very good item early on. Yes! Give me all of this. From this trip, I also managed to get lots of ores and was able to craft boulders. I think we're good though. Yes, I can make it. No way, this is the best world, and it's like taken me the least amount of time. Give me this right now. And there's a Pinky right there, right in front of my eyes. Guys, the first Pinky. I did it. I actually did it, man. With this done, I could duplicate the gel and actually hold on to bouncy boulders. But before I tried them out, I built myself a battle arena, making it slightly larger than normal. And finally, I got to test it out against some zombies and slimes. And the guide. And this guy's dead once again. Without fail, he manages to get in like as soon as I'm farming him, bro. You know, I was happy with how this world actually went. I got the desert in a bottle. Desert sandstorm in a bottle.
Sandstorm in a bottle.
And I got the bouncy boulders. You know, like two things I've never gotten and I don't think I would ever get in another million runs. But you know, nothing lasts forever. In fact, I lasted for like 20 more minutes in which I mined and then I fell to my death. No comments from this death, by the way. I actually was just completely silent and I was like really mad at the time, but I'm good now. I told myself though at that moment that it was time to actually beat this challenge. I told myself no more excuses, no more stupid mistakes, no more being the fool. It was time to make it far in the world. So when I created my new world, my goal was to succeed, but I immediately had to delete it because the generation absolutely sucked. I mean, there was no iron in the next 2 million block radius. Okay, but unironically, this was actually my best attempt at this challenge and I don't think I'll ever get farther than this. I first of all spawned very close to a cave and I began by searching it up and down for any good items. I finally got lucky though as I found multiple chests and lots of iron ore, but my early cave run came to an end as I got harassed by a worm which forced me to flee. And I'll leave the game now. Once back in, I cut down trees again and changed things up a bit this time because I decided to block off entry in the direction of my house. I also just wanted the ramp process to be safer, I guess. Either way, once that was done, I immediately began building my house, but downscaled by quite a bit as the previous houses that I was building were very time consuming, so this just saved time and effort. I then made my battle chamber accessible, but as I was digging, I noticed Pinky hiding along the crowd of zombies, so I crafted a heavy workbench using the iron I got earlier and got to work. But what happened in the span of this clip was insane, honestly. Where's my... There's no way I only found one. Except a star smited it into the afterworld, so I didn't even need to use any boulders, and I got my hands on some pink slime once again. I continued to develop my base by extending the walking platform of the chamber and decided to make another quick cave run, only to not achieve as good loot. But I went back down because it was like a head start for my mining journey, and I wouldn't have to dig all the way back down, which definitely made the process easier. However, being able to go underground with a elevator was gonna be crucial, but also really difficult. Like, take a look at this strategy. Or to slowly go down. I spent quite a bit of time on it, but realized there was another method to getting some other decent loot and ores. Fishing. But because I didn't have any area that was accessible for fishing, I had to make my own area by digging a 15 by 20 hole. Yeah, it's not really pretty, but let's not waste our resources now. I then filled it with water, and it was almost working. I just needed worms, which were easy enough to find as spawn rates were increased by 10% once again, but also difficult at the same time because slimes would attack every 2 seconds and force you to flee the world. It took some time, but eventually I reached 30 worms, and I fished for quite some time. It was quite rewarding though, because I would actually get some good loot, including some splunker potions which had a lot of value at the time. I just found a splunker potion. No, this is crazy. Hold up. I got nothing from that fishing session, by the way. So I immediately took to the mines where I would get my hands on a lot of ore and gems and would actually have enough to craft a gem hook, which made exploring a lot easier and safer. Whatever I do, simply do not hit the detonator. The traveling merchant also showed up and offered some armor which I could use at the time, so I decided to buy it. I realized that I could also get some fairly decent loot if I fished underground, so I took the time to build another fishing arena. Worst part about it though is worms attack you very often, but other than that, you don't get disturbed too much. After fishing for a while and getting kicked out by a worm, I went back to the surface and added some new homes which added a bit of light to all the dullness that surrounded me. Honestly, I was just sick of looking at the color brown because that was all that was surrounding me. The brown underground, the color of the house, literally everything just surrounding me was brown, so it was kind of getting tiring. Either way, the house looked kind of cool, and I decided to add some pots and fill them up with seeds I obtained because I wanted a potion set up. In reality, I just wanted more splunker potions though. But because I fished underground for a decent amount of time, I managed to get even more potions. Oh! Which allowed me to continue mining, and I would finally get a life crystal for the first time. Life crystal. Looks safe. I also had the nearest death encounter in the entire playthrough. I was left on 1 HP and terrified. This was quite nerve-wracking, and I did not want to go back down for like 5 minutes. But it needed to happen, so I was back down and mining, sadly without any splunker potions. I continued to dig down but encountered a mine track, so I decided to follow it without actually going on the track. No way I'm risking going on that track when there's almost 50 enemies around me. It was very annoying as a process, because the blue bats just find every excuse to not move out of your way. In fact, they just purposely come towards you so you couldn't do anything. I eventually encountered a pink fairy though, which was very exciting to see, and so I followed it. You know that auto lock onto blocks feature? The one which highlights blocks yellow? Well, as I was mining, a bat was blocking my way, and I used my bouncy boulders to take it down. No problem. I placed another one though, and my pickaxe locked onto it, causing the boulder to fall right on me, and it ended my run. Bro.